Yo, what's going on, gang? It's Nico Fleeks again. And as you can see, I'm on another walk. I found that you guys like my little walking videos, so I guess I'm gonna do those more often. But today we're gonna talk about life itself, okay? And we're not gonna overcomplicate it. I wanna keep it really just simple and sweet because I think that's what life should be. Life should be simple and sweet. It's hard to see the reality that life has dramatically changed for us, over the course of technology, over the progression of technology, over the progression of all of the things in our life that kind of makes our lives seem a little bit more complicated than what it really is. Okay, but life itself is actually very, very, very simple. And I'll explain why. Because there's only just a few main core components of life that actually matters. You dig what I'm saying? There's only a few things in life that actually matter. And if you pay close attention to these things that I'm about to tell you, then you're going to easily have a good life. You dig what I'm saying? You're going to easily have a good life because I believe that, the reality is life is really just like a video game. Everyone is dealt with different cards at first, depending on, what you're born into, or maybe what race you are, or how tall you are, how short you are, like all type of stuff. We're all dealt different cards, just like a video game, right? You can choose what character you want to be, and some things that they're good at, some things they're bad at. Their attributes are high in some areas, their attributes and their qualities are low in other areas, just like a video game, depending on what character you are, right? But regardless of what character you are, you can always build your stats, right? Just like a video game. You can always prestige up. You can always level up, get better gear, upgrade your stuff or whatever. It's just like life itself. It's no different for us human beings at all. It's really no different for us. So you might be like, Nico Fleeks, I get it. Life is like a game. I kind of knew that already. Just get to the point. I'm about to. All right, well, hear me out. Life really has like about 5 different tentacles on it, right? The first one is basic needs, okay? And that's a given. Yeah, you need your basic needs. You need food, water, shelter, clothing, all that type of stuff, right? Air, just your basic stuff, like the stuff that you immediately need to survive. Sure, that's easy, okay? But then after that, it starts to get a little bit more complex, okay? And us as humans, we need things like what sets us different from most animals is that what sets us apart from most animals is we have a sense of self-awareness. Like we are literally self-aware, meaning that we are like knowing that we exist. We know that we exist. Other animals, it's almost like they kind of just live off of instinct. And you might say, well, other animals are self-aware too as well. And I get that. Like I'm sure like dogs and like cats are aware that they are alive and that they are a creature. But they're not exactly fully aware, kind of like how humans are. You know what I mean? Like it's levels to stuff. They don't have the same amount of awareness, if you will. And what I mean by that is humans really, really, really need love and connection too as well. If you have and that can be with like anybody, right? It can be friends, it could be family, and it can be like your lover, like your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your wife, your husband. That's something that is very important to us human beings. And if you do not have love and connection, if you are not blessed, or if you haven't prioritized love and connection in your life, you're gonna really inevitably unhappy. There's no way around that. You're gonna inevitably be unhappy because it's something that is embedded in our very nature. We need love and connection in order to thrive. It gives us a sense of drive. It gives us a sense of, I want to say, purpose, right? But that's where the second, or I should say the third one, right? That's where the third one comes in, right? So you got basic needs: food, water, shelter, air, water, food, all that stuff, right? You got love and connection. That's the second one. The third one is you really, really need a purpose in your life. Like a real purpose. Something that you wake up in the morning for. Because love and connection is not a purpose, right? Eating food, shelter, water, air is not a purpose. You need an actual purpose. So my purpose right now is sharing things about life and love and connections and the problems that we have in this world. That gives me real life. That gives me like real purpose to be able to reach out on this YouTube platform and talk to you guys. That's something that I look forward to doing when I wake up in the morning. Because let's face it, it would be incredibly hard to wake up in the morning or get up out of bed if you had really nothing to live for. It would be incredibly hard to do that. Because when you have nothing to live for, people turn to evil ways of living. Because a person that has nothing to live for is a dangerous person. So that's something that is incredibly important in our life, okay? So that's the third thing. The fourth thing is spirituality. The fourth thing that you really need in your life is spirituality. Because, I mean, I know that you came from your mom's womb and your dad's you know what, but where did you come from really? You know, what is this world here for? Why are we here? What is the bigger picture? Because you yourself, you're just an individual. So what's the bigger picture beyond you? Because whether you want to admit it or not, or whether you want to think about it or not, you will be unalive one day. So where are you going to go after that? Where are you going to go? To a good place? Are you going to go to a bad place? I know it's something that a lot of human beings inherently think about because they're like, wait, I'm not going to be here forever. What's next? That's where spirituality comes in. And frankly, spirituality can be a lifesaver because a lot of people that tend to be godless, they also tend to be very depressed, you know? And I believe that's by design. We were created to be spiritual. We were created to know that there's something higher than us. Whatever it is that you believe in, you could be a Christian, you could be Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, I don't care. But there has to be some sort of spirituality within your body in order to take life serious or in order to feel comfortable in your own body, really for the most part. So that's that. And spirituality is something that these days is on a decline. Spirituality is on a huge decline these days because people are so wrapped up in negative BS and disgusting, degenerate activities that we were reduced to being exposed to, you know, all of the degeneracy that we go through even since we were kids. That's why people say that like kids are the closest thing to God because they haven't been indoctrinated yet to any of the disgusting things that you are taught over the course of your life You know what I mean? Just through exposure, through being exposed to disgusting things. That's why children are so close to God in itself. So that's the fourth one, right? Spirituality. Now, the fifth one is physical. Like, you need to really pay attention to your body in and of itself. Your body is your temple. You only have one body. Once you mess your body up, like you're gonna be very much unhappy. And your body is directly connected to your mind. Like it is literally connected to your mind. So if you're putting bad foods in your body, you're taking drugs, you're engaging in vices, you're smoking, drinking, doing all vaping, eating junk food, sugary substances, things like that, you're poisoning your body. And the reason why they call it vices is because typically vices are used to cope, whether that be with depression or trauma. People turn to these substances and vices in order to cope. But the funny thing about life, it's a paradox, right? Because the moment you start using these vices, you might be hooked. And then it's hard to get off of these vices. But not only does it make you feel good temporarily, it messes you up in the long term. Like, and we all gotta admit it. Because you might drink some alcohol, you might sip some good liquor on a night out. You might sip some good liquor on a night out, and then the next day, you just feel like absolute garbage. You know, or you might smoke that weed and you feel good, but then like over time, it's making your memory not as good. You know, all of this other type of stuff. So that's just something to watch out for. Absolutely something to watch out for. You know, vices can be quite dangerous. You need to pay very close attention to what you put into your body. And also, physical exercise is an essential thing in life. Most people do not exercise. You'll find that people that do not exercise are typically unhappy people. And a lot of people that don't exercise, they turn to vices. But what you don't know is that our ancestors did a lot of physical activities, and most of them relied on no substances in order to be happy, because that physical activity in and of itself literally made them happy. That physical activity raised their dopamine levels, raised their endorphins, raised the feel-good chemicals in their body, and it puts them in a natural feel-good state, like they're literally high off life. And that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to be high off life. All right, so we got physicality, you know, which is an important component in life. So that's the fifth one. That one really was last but not least. So I really hope you guys paid close attention to what I told you about these components of life, because they're incredibly important to your well-being. You need to implement and be mindful about those 5 components of life, because if you're depressed, I guarantee you, if you prioritize those compartments, those components in life, if you compartmentalize those certain key points of life, I guarantee you, you will be a happier person in general. You probably, if you are clinically depressed, if you're on pharmaceuticals for depression, I guarantee you, if you prioritize those key points in life, you'll be ready to ditch them. You'll be ready to ditch those medicines because you won't need it. See, they don't teach us this stuff at school. And I believe they do that by design. They want you to be dependent on the system. They set that up by design. You know, I got to give y'all some good game while I'm on my walks, because these are the things that I typically think about when I'm doing that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm Nico Fleeks. If I said anything that sparked any imagination in your mind, or if I said anything that you would like to share or that triggered you to share a thought, drop it down below for your boy. Again, this is Nico Fleeks, the Warrior King. Thank you for joining me in Warrior Nation. I'm about to enjoy the rest of my walk. I'm out, guys. I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. Oosh.